For our spoon bread recipe, we have 2 cups of milk, 1 cup of cornmeal, a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of shortening or butter, 2 eggs, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I'm using liquid measure for the milk, measuring cup for the cornmeal, and measuring spoons for the salt and the baking powder. We're gonna preheat our oven to 350 degrees today. And once that's set, we'll be able to stick our spoon bread right in the oven in the 2-quart casserole. Before I pour my batter into the dish, I want it to be heated up with my oven. I've covered it in butter and I'm sticking it in my preheating oven. One of the skills we're going to use in this recipe is scalding the milk. We have our 2 cups of milk and we're going to warm it up until it sort of starts to smoke. Then we can add our corn flour and salt. For this recipe, we're scalding our 2 cups of milk, which brings it up to a temperature that would kill off bacteria in the milk to change the flavor in the recipe. And once it's scalded, we're going to add our 1 cup of cornmeal and 1 teaspoon of salt. We've gotten to our temperature where the milk is just kind of smoking and a little bit of bubbles around the edges. And now I'm going to start slowly adding the cornmeal as I stir it, and then the salt. And when I'm done stirring it all together, I set it aside to let it cool before I add my eggs. While I wait for my milk and cornmeal mixture to cool down, I wanted to let you know about how I pulled this recipe. I looked through all of our local Suffolk books and pulled out recipe books. And this book actually has 2 different recipes for spoon bread, and I chose the one that had fewer ingredients. Please visit our website for the Suffolk Public Library and request a cookbook to pick up at curbside. Now that my milk and cornmeal mixture is cooled down, I'm going to add my eggs and my shortening, 1 egg at a time, blend it in. And once that's mixed up, I'm going to pour that into my preheated dish. I've got my pre-mixed batter and my preheated dish. And now it's time to pour it in and let it bake for 30 minutes. Look at my bubbly golden spoon bread. I ended up baking it for 40 minutes at 350 degrees. I'm gonna give this a taste while it's still steaming.